Am I the a-hole for not inviting my friends for an annual New Year's trip because they didn't invite me last year? Anyway, so my friends and I have been traveling for every New Year since we were 16. We are in our early 20s now. It's a friend group of 6 people, 3 girls and 3 guys. And naturally, we all dated someone from the group at some point in high school. The guy I used to date and me broke up in 2020 but stayed friends. He found a new girlfriend a few months after that. Let's call her Amy. But I was okay with it and we all continued to hang out. Now New Year 2021 is coming up and we start to plan our trip. We were supposed to go to Greece. Usually I'm the one talking to the agencies and trying to save as much money as we can. Everything is fine and going well until about a month before the trip. My now ex best friend comes over and tells me that Amy isn't comfortable with me going on a trip because everyone is coupled up and I was single. And given my history with her boyfriend, she felt awkward. I felt sorry because I never got the feeling that she didn't like me or anything. So I asked if that means that she's not coming or what. Turns out that she still wanted to come, just didn't want me there. I was kind of hurt by this, but even more when the rest of my friends agreed that maybe it would be better if I didn't come, so there would be no drama on the trip. Anyways, I didn't go, kind of stayed away from Amy and my ex since then, and stopped hanging out as much with all of them. Then not long ago, Amy and ex broke up. I don't know why. And now this year's trip is coming up. I already have plans with my roommates and we are going to Amsterdam. And when my friends learned about this, they just assumed they are coming with us as well. I told them that roommates and I are going alone, and if they want to go, they can plan it for themselves, but that this is not a group trip. It's petty, I know, but it feels right to do to them what they did to me. Anyways, they called me some names and we had a fight. And now I'm starting to wonder if maybe I am in the wrong. I mean, I'm ending years-long friendship over some stupid trip, so am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. Your friends ditched you for no good reason last year. If Amy was uncomfortable, she shouldn't have come. You aren't even as close anymore and don't owe them anything. Regarding ending your friendship completely, I think you should have a talk with them. I'm sure they've noticed your friendship has drifted in the past year. If they aren't receptive or apologetic, maybe it's time to let them go completely. Honestly, maybe it is time to let go of them. They don't think they are in the wrong, just me. And honestly, I might be the a-hole even, but I want them to see that they are too, not just me. You're not the a-hole. They had no problem excluding you from the previous trip. They're okay with throwing you, their years-long friend, under the bus for a new girl. You know where their loyalty lies, and it ain't you. Ditch them. Not the a-hole. They aren't really your friends either. They didn't mind hurting your feelings when it worked in their favor. Now they want to piggyback on your trip? Nope. Find some friends who will care about your feelings and stick up for you. If they had apologized earlier, I would feel differently, but what they did was rude and hurtful. Well, I really used to think that they did have my back, and we've been through a lot together, you know? Used to be 8 of us, but we lost 2 to self-harm, so the rest of us just kind of started to depend on each other. But seeing as someone new can replace me in their eyes hurts like hell. I had friends that I went through a lot with too. It sucks, but real friends wouldn't drop you like that. That is true. I'm starting to wonder that everything that happened was the only thing keeping us together all this time. Friendship is based on performance, not length of service. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to drive my drunk friends after I wasn't invited to their party? Simple conflict. Lol. Scenario: university students. Some friends of mine used to throw big parties, but when they got too big, most people in our shared friend group were uninvited. Myself sometimes included. I didn't like trying to keep the party secret from our other friends, so I got really uninvited. I was upset at first, but now I don't really care. It's cliche, but I have more fun with the uninvited squad. However, I'm really close with Ray and she knows I'm responsible. When we used to go to parties together, I was the food picker-upper. Last night she crept away from a baking session, claimed to be tired, and lo and behold, wound up at a party at 1 a.m., which I found out when she texted me asking if I was sober. I said yes, but refused when Ray asked if I could drive. She replied, "But we're drunk and we want food. We're at Alex's, party host." I told Ray I didn't feel like picking up food for a party I wasn't invited to, but if she needed to walk home or to our house in Complex to pick up some crappy campus food, I'd drive. But to say so soon because I was going to bed. Drama. At this point, her boyfriend took her phone, I'm told, and texted that it was a prick move to leave my drunk friends and it was my responsibility to make sure they were safe and didn't die or get arrested. I texted Ray to think ahead next time she went to a party. Good night. This morning was sort of tense. I wasn't angry except for that one text from boyfriend. Ray came up and said we ended up getting somebody sober to get us food, and I alluded to the text. She said her boyfriend texted it, but it sounds like she agrees with him. They're a little salty I wouldn't drive. So am I the a-hole for refusing to help them out? I feel like they might be right, that I should care for my compromised friends, and it was irresponsible of me to be passive, knowing they were drunk and wanted to drive somewhere. However, I've been drunk with them before and they've always understood not to drive drunk. And I think I don't owe them because why should I help out their secret parties that I wasn't invited to? Oh, also I think this is important information. The place we throw the parties is a 3-minute walk from our housing complex. You can get back and forth easily without driving. Also, food delivery services don't work on our campus. Not today, home. Did I read it correctly that they had a party 3 minutes away from where you all live, didn't invite you, then wanted you to be kept and just eat for the night? Saw that business. Ray crept away. World's smallest violent parade for Ray here. I've helped out stranded friends in the past and it's been all good. Happy to do it. But the people I helped hadn't frozen me out of social gatherings. They're just using you by the sounds of it. Seriously, the nerve of these kids. It's your responsibility to deliver us food. You're such an a-hole for not being a free food delivery driver for a party you weren't invited to. I hope you don't let their words get to you. They have serious entitlement issues. No matter what they say, it is not your responsibility to do anything for them. The fact that they genuinely believe somebody else is responsible for them and that they aren't responsible for their own selves is alarming. To be fair, the friend group is very communal, and we had a pact when the party started that we'd all look out for each other, alternate designated drivers, watch drinks and walk home, etc. But that was balanced and contingent on actually being invited to the parties. Thanks for this. You're helping me see that it's unbalanced. Entitled is a good word. You are not the a-hole at all, and these are not your friends. In fact, Ray's boyfriend was wrong. You're the best possible kind of friend. You told them you wouldn't play delivery driver for them, but if they genuinely needed someone to ensure that they were safe and get them home, that you would do that. What you wouldn't do is let them take advantage of you, and you were right. Take it from someone who was in your position at your age, but wasn't nearly as self-aware or confident as you are. It took a lot of years to realize that people like that aren't friends and aren't worth it. If they don't value your company all the time, including when you're not doing things for them, and they only, or even mostly, think of you or reach out to you when they want something from you, they don't care about you no matter what they insist. You're just a really useful convenience. Like Uber, except that you don't get paid. I'm glad you've already figured out that the uninvited are more valuable friends. Ditch these other ones. Thank you. Not gonna lie, I needed your comment to remind me of my worth. I still value Ray's friendship, but this is making me realize how much she uses me. I don't think I'm ready to ditch, but I'm gonna try and distance. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for chipping dog poop into my neighbor's front yard? I bought my house about 3 months ago. When I moved in, I noticed there were a couple dozen lumps of dried dog poop on one side of my front yard. Before I mowed the first time, I went out and picked them up with a plastic bag over my hand. The next day, I noticed a couple more fresh ones on my lawn, so I kept an eye out for the culprit. It didn't take long to realize that my next-door neighbors have some sort of Benji-looking fluff ball of a pooch that they let out unattended a couple of times a day. The dog would sniff around for a while, then run over into my yard and poop every time. It was as if he were trained that way. The daily poop accumulation rate seemed to be 2 or 3. I hardly knew my neighbors, so I was hesitant to approach them with this sort of issue right out of the gate. So I waited a couple of weeks, but I made sure to go out and pick up the poop while my neighbors were outside. One Saturday afternoon, I saw my neighbor out front while I was tending the garden. I said hello and started a simple conversation. After a few minutes, I mentioned the poop and said it would be appreciated if they could pick up after their dog. My neighbor laughed and said that's not from his dog, that there is a stray dog in the neighborhood that does that everywhere. What to do? I decided to train my video doorbell to the poop zone and set the sensitivity to high. Within a week, I had a robust collection of video evidence incriminating my neighbor's dog. I'm no poo pathologist, but it's also pretty clear to me that all the poo in my yard came from the same dug or bunghole. Armed with mountains of evidence, I took the opportunity to approach my neighbor's wife when she was walking the dog. I didn't go into forensic details, but simply asked her if she wouldn't mind picking up after her dog in my yard. She also denied it, and the conversation ended awkwardly at best. I spent several more days noodling over what to do. I decided to take matters into my own hands. I pulled a pitching wedge out of my golf bag and proceeded to chip dog scat from my front yard into my neighbor's. Beyond solving my immediate problem, I could also work a bit on my short game. This went on for some time. It became a weekly ritual that I sort of enjoyed. I did it without shame and in broad daylight. Everything was copacetic until last Saturday. I was out doing my thing when my neighbor's wife barged out her front door screaming. She told me that I can't do that and called me every name in the book, including the obligatory a-hole word. I tried to keep my cool and told her that I was simply returning what was theirs. Last thing I heard was that she was calling the police as she left. I continued and finished up my chipping session. I never heard from the police. I haven't seen my neighbors' faces, and I haven't seen another poop on my lawn. I'll probably have a horrible relationship with my neighbors forever now, but my immediate problem is solved. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Lots of discussion about whether or not I showed a video. In my second encounter with a neighbor, I told them I had video of it. She said something like, "What?" The conversation escalated so awkward and ended shortly after, so I did not show the video, but I did tell them I had it. Not an a-hole. You are simply returning their property. It would be criminal to keep what is not yours. OP fences make the best neighbors. Not an a-hole. You are just kindly returning their property. However, you could have been a little more diplomatic, considering these will be your neighbors for some time, and it would be best not to make them enemies. Maybe you could have shown them the video or some photos as evidence. Neighbors still would have denied it was their dog. People like this never learn. I think this is amusing. I had a neighbor years ago who did this because other neighbors' dogs were constantly roaming the neighborhood, pooping in everyone else's yard. Can't fence right to the street, so even having fencing didn't help. I don't remember that she ever stopped letting her dogs roam, but it made the neighbor feel better to chuck the poop over. He even added a little bit of poop from his own dog. Not stay home, but get a fence. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for getting mad at my brother's girlfriend for letting her kid eat my food? For context, my brother, 26 male, and I, 22 female, have lived in the same apartment for 3-ish years. It was a mutual decision and we split the cost of everything, 50-50. He earns more than I do, but the split cost is okay with me. His girlfriend, 24 female, started living with us almost a year ago, and her kid, 4 female not with my bro, comes to stay with us sometimes. This was not discussed at all, and while I don't really like kids, I don't generally mind her having around. His girlfriend doesn't share with the bills. She pitches in when she can and does her share of chores and cooking. So here's the thing. I work night shifts remotely. I buy snacks so I have something to munch on to keep me awake at night. My brother's girlfriend also stocks up on food for her kid, and this is generally classified as just for the kid. Nobody's allowed to touch it. Not that anyone would steal food from the kid in our house. I also keep my own stash of cookies and the like in our common area, as I don't want to attract ants in my room. The problem is, her kid sometimes wants to eat my food. If I'm there and they ask, I do share some. But I budget my stash, so I have enough till my next grocery run. However, recently I've noticed that my food gets depleted real fast, even though I've been eating less. Again, I really don't mind sharing as long as people ask. I asked my brother if he's been eating my food, but he says he hasn't. He did tell me that the kid prefers my cookies to what her mom gives her, so the mom has been giving her mine. I confronted his girlfriend and asked that they ask my permission next time before consuming my food. They both got mad at me, saying I shouldn't be so selfish and just share with the kid. Am I the a-hole here? It is just food, but it's been my only indulgence since my budget is tight. Now for the top comments before reading the little update. Not the a-hole. First up, why are you paying 50% when this is clearly a 3-way flat share now? Also, why doesn't the kid's mom just buy the same cookies you do? Then there's no need for them to pinch yours. They're being unreasonable, but like wrongdoers, everywhere they need to blame you so that they don't feel bad about themselves. Get a better, more robust cookie jar that repels ants and take it into your room. 4-way, don't forget about the kid. Not the a-hole. You buy your food for you, not for your brother's girlfriend's kid. It's one thing to choose to occasionally share. It's another thing entirely for them to not even ask. Also, can we talk about your brother's girlfriend not contributing to the cost of living in the apartment? Shouldn't be a 50-50 split. You should be paying a third. You're being taken advantage of. She doesn't have a stable job right now because of the pandemic. That's the reason why she moved in. She does a lot of the chores, since I sleep a lot during the day due to work schedule and can't help much outside of my days off, so I count that as her contribution. And now for the update. I seriously appreciate all your concern. I'm working up the courage to have a sit-down talk with them on my next day off, so we have time to hash things out. I have spoken to my mom about the situation, and she is willing to take me back in since I'm working remotely anyway. Mom is living alone now, and is not comfortable letting me live alone again because of a medical condition. I broached the subject with my brother previously, after girlfriend started staying over more, but he didn't agree. He's been a good brother to me, and has taken the responsibility to check on me because of said medical condition. I'm by no means a burden, just that I tend to not tell anyone if I'm not feeling alright, and try to carry my own weight myself so as not to burden the family. 50-50 split. This is me trying to make it up to my brother, as he also willingly offered to live with me after I was hospitalized before. He also has the bigger room because of the same reason. Chores. I make little to no mess in our common area as I keep to my room often. I do my own dishes most of the time. The girlfriend picks up after my brother, who only does heavy lifting but not the little chores like sweeping, cooking, etc. Cookie jar. I have books in my room, which is why I'm wary of ants/bugs. But looking for a cookie jar in our next run. We generally only do big batch groceries as cases are still high where we are, and we can never be too careful even if we are well vaccinated. Except the kid, of course. I was really just wondering if I was an a-hole for getting worked up over cookies, but I'm so grateful for the great advice and concern I've received.
Am I the a-hole for ruining my parents' marriage by finding my bio father and exposing my mom's lies? I, 19 male, always knew my dad wasn't my bio dad, and it was never a huge deal. I knew I was loved either way. Mom always told us my bio father had wanted to be a dad and walked away once he learned she was pregnant. When I was 12, I started struggling with health issues, and we were repeatedly asked for family medical background. Mom swore she reached out to ask Bio for any insight on his side, but he refused to give it. At the time, we were told it would be ideal to find out more if we could, but if not, we would do our best to treat me. My dad and I talked about it a lot, and he comforted me when I was upset that this guy who made me hated me so much that he wouldn't even help for a medical problem. It meant added complications, and always having to explain to new doctors I was referred to that I only had half my family medical history and could not get more. And really, it just sucked to think he cared so little if I could be seriously ill or not. A year ago, my aunt, Mom's sister, told me that things might not be like they seemed, and maybe it would be a good idea to search for answers myself. She said the worst that could happen is he refuses to answer or gets mad at me for making contact. I asked her what she meant about things not being what they seemed, but she was tight-lipped on it, so I did a 23andMe. I ended up matched with a paternal aunt, and from there Mom's lies were exposed to me. My paternal aunt was shocked to learn about me, and she told me she was 100% certain her brother had no idea either. She was a go-between for us at first to help set up contacting and a face-to-face meeting. When we met, he had medical info waiting for me, and he told me it was a thing I inherited from his side, and he would be a donor if I ever needed one. He was also apologizing the whole time for not knowing me, and he swore he was never told Mom was pregnant. They broke up because she cheated, and he never heard from her again or her sister, Aunt who pushed me to search, who he got along with during his relationship with Mom. The medical info helped, and I told him I'd have way more questions once I processed. Then I went to talk to Mom. At first, she said it was all lies, then asked why I searched without saying anything, and when I told her why, she admitted it was true. She said she met Dad after the guy she cheated on my bio father with left her, and she came up with a lie so we could be a normal family. And she never told my bio about me, even after I got sick, because she wanted to keep things as they were. I was hurt, but so was my dad. He was mad she denied my bio father and me the chance to know each other. But also that she lied to him the whole time they had known each other. He felt like she made him complicit in keeping me and my bio father apart. And he was super angry she was willing to make my health stuff more difficult because I didn't have the full background, rather than do the right thing and expose her lies years ago for my sake. The medical info I got was actually helpful for my medical team, so it was worth it in that sense. But it has ruined my relationship with Mom, and my parents' marriage is done. Dad wants a divorce and already moved out of their house. My siblings blame me for it because they know what went down between us all. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. What your mom did is awful and extremely selfish. She literally lied to everyone and denied your bio dad a relationship with you and vice versa. I hope you can talk to your siblings, and I'm sure they'll understand at some point. This is not your fault. These are the consequences of your mom's actions. Right now, my siblings are refusing to talk to me, even with Dad telling them it's not my fault. They say it is, because if I had left it alone, nobody else would know, and our family would be happy. Dad's trying to stop that mindset, but they're not changing their mind on this. That's very selfish of them, considering your health issues. It was medically important for you to reach out to him. If it was them, they'd have done the same. It's easy to be all high and mighty when you aren't the one with your health at stake. My dad tried pointing that out, but it did nothing. They said I didn't need the info to live. But that wasn't true either. We didn't know if mine was the one that could quickly turn life-threatening or not. Now we know, and it's literally life-saving for me, because we know mine is that one. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not reaching out to my sister after her stillbirth, or expressing any sympathy to her? 10 weeks ago, my sister, 33 female, had to deliver her stillborn daughter after learning her heart had stopped beating at 21 weeks. I, 31 female, have been low contact with her for a number of years now. We see each other twice a year tops, and I have her number and socials all blocked. Our family knows this, but they and my sister still expected me to reach out and express sympathy to her. But I didn't. My parents are the most vocal about how heartless it is to not come together after a huge loss like this. But I don't think our past issues can be washed away by her loss. Her going through this does not change everything that's happened for me. This might be why I'm the a-hole, because maybe it should. I'll let people decide. My sister and I were never that close. As kids, we got along fine. We didn't fight much, but we didn't interact much either until our teens, and that's when she decided I was our grandparents' favorite, and that I didn't deserve to ever be happy because of it. She was jealous that my husband and I started dating in high school and made our relationship work for this long without ever breaking up. She taunted my inability to conceive naturally. She rubbed 2 of her previous pregnancies in my face and her super fertility. She even used her babies to taunt me, and not all of it was just something hurtful to me but to them. Like when she had her second, she told me she didn't even want her kids, but she had them because she knew it hurt me. For me, that was the final straw, and this is when I went low contact. But I felt bad for her kids too, because whether she meant it or not, if they had been older, that would have been horrific to hear their mom say. She showed no remorse for saying it either, and all future interactions were her very much gloating about her ability to have kids. It was something she was called out for by other people in our family. But now I'm supposed to forget about that and be there for her apparently. I can't bring myself to, not even for a brief text, and maybe that makes me the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your sister is an outright bitch. This, OP's sister, is 100% the a-hole. She spent years flexing her super fertility, like it was some kind of superpower, and literally used her kids as ammo to hurt you. Now she's shocked Pikachu face that you're not rushing in with hugs and sympathy? Nah, tragedy sucks, but it doesn't come with a free erase all the awful things I did card. You're not heartless, you're just done being her emotional doormat. Not the a-hole. Do your parents know what she's been saying to you? If so, why would they think you'd want anything to do with her at this point? They know what she has said to me, and they believe that should be brushed aside now because of her loss. Nah, that nonsense can't and should never be brushed aside. It sucks that she lost the baby, but that doesn't negate the horrible things she's said about you. Your parents absolutely suck. Your sister has a personality disorder. Any condolences you gave, no matter how well worded, would have been twisted to further her victimhood. I would prepare myself for her to start a terror campaign against you. Your sister is a spiteful bitch, and maybe karma decided she didn't deserve another child. What a horrifically cruel thing to say to her sister, and about her own children. Not the a-hole. It is a horrible thing to go through, and I feel for her family, but as you say, it doesn't erase what she's done and said. I always come back to that. She said in front of her kids, who were too young to understand, that she had them to spite me and didn't want them really. Of all the things she said to me previously, that was easily the worst. I can't imagine hating someone enough to risk hurting my kids like that. And here's me, who would love kids, to have someone say it. That was the moment I knew I could never have a decent relationship with her. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my parents I will not be helping them with their rent? I, 18 female, moved out of my parents' house a little while ago as soon as I could. To provide some context, my parents were both emotionally abusive and have wronged me many times in my life, including threatening to get rid of my dog, which I have a whole post on. Since I moved out, I've been working a job and paying rent for an apartment I share with my friend and have had enough money left to save up a bit to go to college in a few years. I am the youngest in the family, so after I moved out, no one was left at home. Both my siblings moved out as well, so their financial support from my brother paying them rent for his bedroom has been cut off. I am completely independent and have told my parents multiple times that I want nothing to do with them and even blocked their numbers completely. Earlier this week, my grandmother called me and explained that my parents desperately need money for rent and asked if I could spare money from my college savings, which I saved up on my own so far, to help them. I outright refused and told my grandmother I would not be helping at all, since every penny in my savings is gathered by me working hard and supporting myself. I love my grandmother and told her that if she needed help herself, I was willing to help, but I would not help my parents. For this entire week, my aunt has been calling me repeatedly saying my parents really needed this and deserved it for raising me. My mom's side of the family threatened to cut me off if I didn't help, which is honestly so petty because I'm only 18 years old. They should be helping instead. I told my friend about it and she said that I was taking it too far and I should have helped. Now I'm wondering if I am the a-hole. Now for the top comments. They deserve it for raising you. No, that's what is legally required. You have children, you raise them. They don't owe you for doing that. Your aunt and your mom's side are all welcome to contribute to the rent if they are so concerned. You save up for some therapy as well, and good luck. Not the a-hole. My father pulled this same stunt. A house across the street from mine went up for sale, and I started getting messages saying that I owe him for raising me, and he thought that I should buy the house and give it to him as payment. When I said no, he went to Facebook and everywhere he could, posting about how terrible of a son I am to him for not being willing to buy him such a small token of my love and appreciation. I have since gone full no contact with him, as has the rest of the extended family. Not the a-hole at all. Not the a-hole. You are doing fantastic. Moved out, saving money for college, on your own, cutting off your abusive family. Keep it up. Don't let anyone drag you back into that situation with their petty manipulations. You got this. Thank you so much. You have no idea how much that means to me. I truly appreciate the kind words from the bottom of my heart. Make sure your parents aren't on your bank account. Have it in a credit union or bank they've never used if possible. Also check your credit. Make sure they haven't taken out any loans or credit cards in your name. Lock it down. I will definitely contact my bank in the morning. Everyone seems to be warning me about that. Last story. Am I the a-hole for calling my ex on being a bad father to our son when he said he did not understand our son's bad relationship with him, his wife, and their kids? I, 34 female, have a 14-year-old son with my ex, 34 male. There has been a lot of difficulty in our relationship as parents, and I cannot call us co-parents. I have tried a few times, but my ex hates me, blames me for his bad choices, and holds it against me that I would not let his wife, aka the woman he left me for while I was pregnant, into our son's birth. Because I wouldn't allow his wife, girlfriend at the time, to be in the delivery room with me, he refused to come, and he has spent 14 years blaming me for that. He has stated I took away his chance to be present for the birth of his first child. But not only that, he also accused me of keeping him away from our son for the first 5 months of his life, when he was the one who did not reply to any texts or attempts to set up time for him to meet and spend time with our son. His extended family all met our son before he did. Even a couple of his cousins who live in another state met our son before him. Eventually, he filed for full custody and was awarded visitation instead. We were forced to take co-parenting classes together, and he tried to include his wife, who was his wife by this point, but the judge told him co-parenting would be between me and him, not me and his wife. The classes didn't help. Instead of taking anything said on board, he decided he would forever tell our son he wasn't at his birth and didn't meet him until he was 5 months old. Of course, he told our son I was the reason for all of this. My son was so confused for a while. But once my son knew the truth, or a version of it, his relationship with his dad and his dad's wife suffered. The reason his relationship with her suffered is because she was right alongside my ex blaming me, and she had her own part to play in things my son was told. Add to this, my ex has repeatedly said around or to our son that he was lucky to be at the birth of the 4 children he had with his wife. How it made a big difference to the bond and relationship. How he felt like a real father when he finally saw his child being brought into the world. My ex thought it would make our son hate me. He thought our son would believe everything he and his wife told him. But all it did was push our son away and strain all the relationships. My ex didn't want our son in therapy, but I petitioned the court for him to receive therapy, and I have petitioned for full custody before. Even with the backing of my son's therapist, custody remains 50-50, and my son needs to be 16 before he can influence custody. For more than 4 years now, he has wanted to live with me full-time, but it's just not happening. Recently, my son was in the hospital for a small surgery. It was relatively minor and he's doing great since. But my ex didn't show up until after our son was taken to the operating room, and he didn't show up to see our son, but to whine to me about our son not liking him or his family. He told me I need to fix whatever I did, because I have cost him enough of a relationship with our son. He said he couldn't understand our son's bad relationship with him and his family, that he was so sure our son would love the other kids and his wife, because they're a family. I told him to look in the mirror instead of pointing fingers at me, that he's been an awful father to our son, and if he took any time to reflect on his choices regarding him, then he would see it. My ex left the hospital after again blaming me for everything around the birth and the first 5 months. He said if I hadn't been spiteful and just let his woman, what he called her, be there, then none of this would have happened. He accused me of being vindictive in keeping them from the birth of their firstborn. He has sent around a dozen messages through the co-parenting app, blaming me for everything, and saying I'm still vindictive and petty. My attorney has made a note of everything. And at this time, I don't plan to go for custody again unless something bigger changes, because I'll be throwing money away. None of this is hugely different from any other time I tried, so I feel very stuck. And the reason I'm posting here is I worry this will make things worse for my son, because I pissed his father, and probably his wife, off more than they already were. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, obviously. Narcissists will never acknowledge they're the problem. It must be everyone else. Just respond to everything with, "These are the consequences of your actions," or just blatantly ignore him. Don't interact other than for logistics regarding your son. If he's doing it in person, just walk off, start laughing, or yeah, be dismissive. Typically, I would ignore him and just keep it as civil as it can be. That's going to be my preferred way to handle it going forward too, because I don't want to make things any worse for my son. How is his extended family dealing with all this nonsense? And I assume nobody has called it out yet or won't? His extended family goes through me to see our son for the most part. They got tired of fighting about all of this. I know they pushed him those first 5 months, and even before over the birth, because they said he was getting more than most in his shoes would, and he was wasting it.